Hi friends, welcome back to reading time. Today we're going to read the Mr. Seahorse by Eric Carle. Can you tell me what colors you see on the seahorse? I see blue and pink and green and orange. Where does a seahorse live? Does a seahorse live on a farm or under the water? A seahorse lives under the water in the ocean. Mr. and Mrs. Seahorse drifted gently through the sea. Mrs. Seahorse began to wiggle and twist this way and that. What does drifted mean? Anybody know? Drift means to float. So if the seahorse is drifting, that means she's floating through the water. It's time for me to lay my egg, she said. Can I help? Asked Mr. Seahorse. Oh, yes, thank you, said Miss Seahorse, as she laid her eggs into a pouch on Mr. Seahorse's belly. I'll take good care of your eggs, said Mr. Seahorse. I promise. As Mr. Seahorse drifted gently through the sea, he passed right by some... Anybody know what this is called? He passed by some seaweed. That's what this is called. It's the types of plants at the bottom of the sea. They're called seaweed. They look like grass at the bottom of the sea. He next passed through a group of trumpet fish hidden in a patch of reeds. There are the trumpet fish. Do you think they're long fish or short fish? Look at them. I think they're pretty long. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4 trumpet fish. But before long, Mr. Seahorse met another fish. How are you, Mr. Stickleback? Asked Mr. Seahorse. I'm delighted, said Mr. Stickleback. I just built a nest, and right away Mrs. Stickleback laid her eggs into it. Now I'm taking good care of them until they hatch. Keep up the good work, said Mr. Seahorse, and he swam on his way. Look at where he laid his eggs in this nest. Can you see them here? Mr. Stickleback laid his eggs right here on the branch. As Mr. Seahorse drifted gently through the sea, he passed right by, a lionfish hidden behind a coral reef. You see the lionfish? Look at all the lines on the lionfish. He's a funny looking fish. Right before long, Mr. Seahorse met another fish. How are you, Mr. Tilapia? Asked Mr. Seahorse. Mr. Tilapia couldn't answer. His mouth was full of eggs. I know, said Mr. Seahorse. Mrs. Tilapia laid her eggs. Now you are taking good care of them until they hatch. Mr. Tilapia nodded his head. You must be very happy, said Mr. Seahorse, and swam on his way. Why do you think Mr. Tilapia is feeling happy? I think he's feeling happy because he has lots of babies on the way. See all the eggs in his mouth? Those are all going to be little babies once they hatch. That's why he's feeling so happy. As Mr. Seahorse drifted gently through the sea, he passed right by... What do you think this is? Let's see. What is he going to pass right beside? A pair of leaf fish who were hidden among the seaweed. That was more seaweed. I see 1, 2 leaf fish. Why do you think they're called leaf fish? I think maybe they're called leaf fish because they kind of look like leaves, the leaves on a tree, don't you? 1, 2 leaf fish. But before long, Mr. Seahorse met another fish. How are you, Mr. Curtis? Asked Mr. Seahorse. Perfectly fine, replied Mr. Curtis. Mrs. Curtis laid her eggs, and I have them stuck on my head. Now I am taking good care of them until they hatch. Oh, that's so interesting. "You are doing a good job," said Mr. Seahorse, and he swam on his way. Do you see the little purple eggs? Where are they? They're on top of Mr. Curtis's head. See them here? Little purple eggs on top of Mr. Curtis's head. As Mr. Seahorse drifted gently through the sea, he passed right by looks like a rock. What do you think is going to be behind the rock? What could be behind the rock? Let's see. Ooh, a stonefish was hidden behind the rock. Do you see the stonefish? He's an interesting looking fish too, isn't he? You see his fins? He's all different types of colors. He's like a rainbow colored fish. But before long, Mr. Seahorse met another fish. "How are you, Mr. Pipe?" asked Mr. Seahorse. "Couldn't be better," replied Mr. Pipe. "Mrs. Pipe laid her eggs along my belly. Now I'm taking good care of them until they hatch." "You should feel proud of yourself," said Mr. Seahorse, and he swam on his way. Look at all those eggs on his belly. That's a lot. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. See all those 22 eggs on his belly? Look at that. But before long, Mr. Seahorse met another fish. "How are you, Mr. Bullhead?" asked Mr. Seahorse. "Tip-top," replied Mr. Bullhead. "Mrs. Bullhead laid her eggs, and the eggs hatched. Now I'm babysitting." "You are doing a fine job," said Mr. Seahorse, and he swam on his way. Look at all the little fish that are swimming around their dad. Mr. Bullhead, look at all those. Looks like a catfish. The time had come for the Seahorse babies to be born. Oh, look at them. Mr. Seahorse wiggled and twisted this way and that. At last the babies tumbled from Mr. Seahorse's pouch and swam away. One baby turned around and tried to come back to the pouch. "Oh no," said Mr. Seahorse, "I do love you, but now you are ready to be on your own." And away they swam. The end. What a nice story. Mr. Seahorse by Eric Carle. See you later, friends.